Wow. So, yeah, that's a roll of thunder you may or may not be able to hear that just rolled through. My alarm went off at 6:30 this morning. I went to the bathroom and I could hear because I didn't turn any lights on, I could hear that it was raining. And I was like, okay. So I had a conference with Tom and we both turned our alarms off, went back to bed. So woke up at about 10 minutes to 8, got out of bed and it was raining pretty heavily. And I was like, okay. So obviously today is a day of rest. Every now and again, God picks the rest days by raining in the morning. So, I was like, all right, it's raining. And so we got up and just kind of did the normal morning things outside of the exercise. Although I realized that I usually wash my hair and I didn't do that this morning. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll do that tomorrow. And it's still raining. So, yeah. It's going to be a soggy drive into work today. I'm only 2 miles from work. It's not that big of a deal. So, all right. Today is May 10th. Our title is Infinite Spirit of Substance. Our author is Alberta Smith, and this was published in the Science of Mind magazine in 1932. So I look forward to seeing what this has to say. And it starts off by saying, question. We find our finances in very bad shape, mortgage about to be foreclosed, daughter ill, and mother-in-law very discordant and fault-finding. I feel so confused, can't make decisions. Is my confused state of mind the result of chaotic conditions of our life? Because when these things began to happen, I was poised and happy. I can't feel they are a result of my thought. Right. So I'm guessing Reverend Jesse does a question and answer column. So I'm guessing this is what this was, because the next thing says, answer. You will be caught in the picture just so long as you permit the conditions you mention to have weight in your mind. You must close your mental door to them all and realize that the infinite spirit of substance is the very center of your life, and that no condition or circumstance can affect it. Your work lies wholly within yourself and should exclude all appearances on the objective. Know that which formerly made your decisions and kept you whole and happy is active in this moment, keeping you positive and dominant. That no situation exists on the objective level which it cannot handle to your satisfaction. Keep yourself in this impregnable mental stronghold, and no outward conflict can affect you. After all, making a decision is only making a choice. Choose to believe that no matter what the appearance may be to the contrary, you occupy and are protected in your own impregnable point of good, wherein right action alone can obtain. Know that divine intelligence within you compels you by your full cooperation to say and to do the right thing at the right time, and rest your case in God the all-good. Then wait, watchfully and with certainty. Avenues will open automatically once you convince yourself that it is true, for there is no obstruction to the harmonious action in your life if you set in motion definite laws which, when used and understood, produce definite results. Be steady, persistent, and faithful in your work, and you will win. Help! My life is a mess. All right. Then stop looking at the messiness and go to the source of your own being, which is good and has never been affected by the messiness that is going on in your life. Go there. What she called it, your impregnable point of good. Go there. Sit there for a time being. and know that that is what is active in your life, not the messiness. And that's what I heard. Which is a simplification. Oh my goodness. But still, and Jesse still says the same thing. It's like, look, there is a place, a part of you where nothing has ever been wrong. There is a place where nothing has ever been wrong. Yes, it may be in the unseen, which is a whole lot less messy than the material world, which is the seen. But in there, in that impregnable point of good, I love the way she said that. You go there. Go to the place where nothing has ever been wrong. And sit in that. The work is all within you. And as you sit in that, then it's like you open up the channel and you allow that to flow into the world. And honestly, I have found when everything just kind of goes, it's like everything flies in all different directions. It's like you fly in all different directions, metaphorically, and you don't know what to do. That's what I do is I stop and I gather myself and I go, you know what? I can handle this. I don't necessarily say to myself, but what I'm saying to myself, even if I don't use the actual words, I'm a beloved child of God. I am a divine channel for good in this world. Everything that I need to deal with this, I already have. And so it's like, when I'm flying in all directions and I stop, I gather myself back up, I put myself in that impregnable point of good and know that I've got everything I need to get it done. And then I just start with one. It's like, I can't do everything at once. Nobody can do everything at once. I watched, and I forget what it was. It may have been a National Geographic show where they literally went in and showed that multitasking is not a thing. What we do is rapidly shift serial tasking. Okay. And so what this person who wrote into Alberta Smith said is, look, I've got all of this going on. And she said, okay, gather yourself together. Go to your impregnable point of good. Go to the place that nothing has ever been wrong and nothing ever can be wrong. Go there. Sit there. Become the channel for that. And then you will know the right action when it happens. So when you take that moment, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big believer in taking a deep breath before you speak. You take that deep breath before you speak, and whatever was about to come flying out of your mouth, you give yourself a moment to think, is that really what I want to say? And it's the same thing when you don't know what to do. You take that deep breath, and in that moment, you go to that place, that I love her word, impregnable point of good. You go there. And then what it is that you need to do, that first domino, I guess, occurs to you. It's like, oh. And then you just kind of tick off the task. And then by the end of it, you've gotten everything handled that you needed to handle. Now, it may take time. And that's just the way the material world works. It's like, it's perfect in God, but God doesn't, adhere to time and space. The material world does adhere to time and space. So it does take time. And, that we just have to deal with that. It's the agreement we made when we came into the material realm. It's like, okay, it's going to take a little bit of time. But when you take that deep breath and gather yourself together into that, I love it, impregnable point of good, then you open that channel wide, and then the words that you need, the actions that you need, that all starts to flow through you. And then then you just kind of start ticking things off. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh, no, I can handle that. Multitasking is not a thing. rapidly shifting tasks, that is a thing. And so that's what you'll get. You'll get guidance into. And it may not feel like guidance, but it's like in that moment, you'll know what to do. You'll know what to say. You'll know the first step to take. And then once you take the first step, then the next step will appear and the next step will appear, And then if you get to a point where the steps stop appearing, again, you gather yourself back up into that point of good. Go to the place where nothing has ever been wrong. Literally go to God, and it can happen as fast as a deep breath. And sometimes what it needs is you need a treatment. You can gather yourself up into that place and do the treatment. Or if you're just really completely scattered, as this person clearly was and didn't know what to do, they wrote to somebody. And so I can guarantee you she wrote the answer and she did a treatment for them. They may not have heard the treatment. They may not have ever seen the treatment, but she did a treatment for them. Anytime you say anything to a practitioner, the practitioner is going to treat about it. Even if you don't ask them, they're going to treat to know that everything is well. Everything is well. We kind of can't help it. It's just like ingrained into us. It's like, okay, well, I've heard your situation and I'm going to know the highest and the best for you, whatever that looks like. I don't know what the highest and the best is. Maybe you don't know what the highest and the best is, but there is something that does. And we're going to go to that. And I love that Alberta Smith calls it the impregnable point of good. So that's why I talk about the power of the deep breath. Because in that deep breath, you are literally gathering yourself together and going to the place where nothing has ever been wrong. Going to the place where everything has always been perfect. And I'm going to remind you, perfect means whole, not necessarily flawless. So we are allowed to have a messy, juicy, chaotic life and it still be perfect because it's all included. All right? So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is just that. As she says, you will be caught in the picture just so long as you permit the conditions you mentioned to have weight in your mind. You must close your mental door to them all and realize that the infinite spirit of substance is the very center of your life and that no condition or circumstance can affect it. The mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to close your mental door. Close your mental door. Close your mental door to the effects. And as you work once you close that door, you take that deep breath, you breathe in that impregnable point of good. The first step will appear. Maybe you won't see the whole staircase, but you'll see the first step. And then you trust and you take that first step. There it is. So the mission today, and trust me, I know, I'm asking you to close that mental door to the conditions. And you're like, how do I do that? Well, start with a deep breath. Start with a deep breath. Go to the place where nothing has ever been wrong. Go to your happy place. One of the things that I like to do is encourage people to create that space in their mind where they meet God and fill it with all of your senses. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Mine is a library full of books. You can hear water in the background, probably a fountain. It's got those big wing chairs. There's a little teapot on a little stand between the two chairs. And I go and I sit in one of those chairs. And the source of my being sits in the other chair. And I have created it so fully that I can get there in a deep breath. That's how I close my mental door. And it just takes a deep breath. But that is years and years of practice, okay? Create your space. Create your impregnable point of good. And go there regularly. That's how you close a mental door. That's how you close the mental door and start afresh and see the first step. And trust me, the whole staircase will appear. It just may appear a step at a time, and that is okay. All right, so that is the mission today. Thank you, Alberta. Impregnable point of good. I love it. The other thing that I'm going to suggest that you do every day, which is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. You've heard me say every time I talk about this, a deep breath before you speak. Because in that deep breath, that's where I'm asking you to go. I'm asking you to take that deep breath and go to that impregnable point of good. And when you practice regularly, so create the space for yourself. That's what meditation is. That and the first 2 steps of treatment. It's about creating a space where you listen to the infinite, where you listen to God, where you listen to spirit, where you go to the source of your own being, where you go to the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. And it looks like taking a deep breath. And it looks like taking a nap and taking a walk and taking a deep breath. And when it's raining outside, turning the alarm off and catching an extra hour of sleep. And it looks like shutting that mental door for a moment. You know, we can't hide in that place, but we go there regularly so that we open the channel to channel that infinite source of good, that infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion back into our world. Okay? Back into our messy, wonderful, chaotic material world. We just got to do it on a regular basis, meaning every day, sometimes multiple times a day. There's no shame. It is self-care. All right. So I also remind you, one of the other things that I like to say is eat dessert first. Okay? It's a metaphor. I do literally mean it sometimes. Eat dessert first. But I also mean your life is a special occasion. Make room for joy. No matter what is going on in the world, in your life, you deserve joy. That's another reason for creating that space, that mental space that you can get to in a deep breath to make room for joy. So, and I want you to practice on yourself. 3 good reasons. 1, you are your own best test subject. You get immediate feedback. 2, I'm encouraging you to create that habit so that you can get there in that deep breath. When you practice regularly, you'll get there in that deep breath. Okay? No matter what is happening. And 3, you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. Straight up. All right? So the other suggestions: do something to engage your mind and your body, unless the rain enforced a rest day on you. Everybody needs to take at least 1, if not 2, rest days. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. Your brain works better when it's well hydrated. So please drink plenty of water. I do encourage you to get early in your day bright light. It's been raining. It's going to continue to rain. I don't know when I'm going to see the sun again, but for the purposes of the circadian rhythms, artificial light can help as well. I'm talking 5-10 minutes of bright light on your face. Okay? It'll reset those hormones. That natural hormone cycle. You will have more energy during the day. You will sleep better at night. And then, as always, in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Because it is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. It is what she was talking about today. That impregnable point of good, that is a state of mind. That is a state of consciousness. That is heaven. When we know that the source of our own being is good and that we can channel that good into our life, no matter what it looks like at the moment. Right? And it does require us to open our soul, to be willing to look around and see the good. And to remember sometimes when we walk into situations and they're a hot mess, the good that we're bringing into the situation. Because if you're there, you're good. There's good. And you'll see the first step. You'll see the first step. Sometimes we have to trust the staircase and just take that first step, even without seeing the next one. and know it'll be there. So, and that is that state of mind. That is that state of consciousness. And then when you realize that heaven is a state of mind, it ceases to be a place that we have to get to and becomes any place we are. It's really cool. That's why I call it a superpower. So, all right. And as always, when we are practicing this, when we are working on our state of mind, our state of consciousness, take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. And remember, no matter what is going on, there is always good because you're there. All right? Okay. You are a beloved child of God, a divine spark, a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are godly. Remember that. That is the truth of your being. Okay. Quick social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. If you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. That gets you on a constant contact. And those hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll either take you right to the information or to the person that can help you get it. So please take advantage of all that stuff. There's good stuff. And I will encourage you. It is raining out there and there's a bird singing. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Good. There is a bird singing in the rain. All right. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a go dance in the rain day, or a try and stay dry day, a take a deep breath day, a know where your impregnable point of good is. This. It's right here, by the way, just in case. A good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. Because you are enough just as you are. As I've said before and will say again, you are a beloved child of God. Always. And I hate to break it to you, but there's nothing you can do about that. You are always going to be a beloved child of God. And I don't hate to break it to you. I'm thrilled to tell you that. So, I'm just being funny right now. Okay. I have a few more things that I've got to do before I get out into this rain. So I'm going to remind you, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.